Most people have seen this famous scene. Medusa's puzzled expression is a really cute burst. So where did this clip come from? In this issue, let's review The Clash of the Titans, which was released in 2010. A fishing boat drifting on the sea. Today, as usual, they found nothing again. The old fisherman curses the injustice of the gods. He looked up into the distance and saw a magnificent statue of Zeus standing on a cliff. To his surprise, the king's army was destroying the statue of Zeus. As the soldiers cheered, the sky changed, and countless demons suddenly flew out of the sea. Naturally, the human soldiers were no match for them and were soon wiped out. Several demons came together, and a terrifying man appeared out of the black smoke. He is Hades, the brother of Zeus. Ultimately, the fisherman's family sank to the bottom of the sea, and only the boy survived. This young man is not immortal. 20 years ago, the old king, tired of the gods' mistreatment of human beings, openly declared war on Zeus, the king of the gods. He led a group of soldiers to attack Mount Olympus. Zeus' punishment was even more unbelievable. One night, he took the form of the king and sneaked into the queen's chambers. Zeus thus had an affair with the queen. In anger, the king ordered the execution of the queen and Zeus's newborn son and threw the mother and son into the sea in a coffin. Humiliated by this, the king could only curse to the sky to vent his anger, and at that moment, a lightning bolt fell from the sky. The king turned into an angry monster. From now on, do not know where to go. Soon after, the queen's coffin was retrieved by an old fisherman. The queen was dead, and Perseus, the demigod son of Zeus, survived. The old fisherman took him as his son and raised him. Zeus is furious when he learns that humans have declared war on the gods. Hades took this opportunity to offer to summon sea monsters to punish the humans, using reverence and fear to make them pray to the gods. Overwhelmed by anger, Zeus agreed to Hades' proposal, and just as the king and queen were gloating and ranting about their success in bringing down the statue of Zeus, the palace was suddenly enveloped in darkness. A black whirlwind sucked all the soldiers in. Hades, the king of the underworld, reappears. Seeing his enemy, Perseus tried to rush up, but was knocked away by the terrifying force. The king and queen were so frightened they stepped back and knelt in Hades, only to see him stretch out his hand. The queen instantly aged and turned into a dry older woman. This is the punishment for her arrogance, and Hades warned that when the eclipse appeared in 10 days, he would unleash the ultimate beast, Kraken, to destroy all humans. Unless they sacrifice the princess, they will be able to quell the ancient beast's rage. Legend has it that only the Stygian witches, who live on the ancient battlefield, know how to destroy Kraken the siren, but it was so eerie that no mortal had ever been there. Therefore, the demigod Perseus became the perfect candidate. So a group of people packed up their equipment and set out on an adventure to find the witch with the hope of humanity. Perseus found a glowing sword hilt behind a large tree. The moment he picked it up, the hilt turned out to be a sword that sharpened iron like mud. Then the winged horse fell from the sky and willingly became his mount. It seems that God is helping him, but he was very resistant to these divine powers. He wanted to use his human power to solve the problem. At the same time, danger is approaching. Hades found the old king who was humiliated by Zeus, injected dark power into him, and told him that Zeus' bastard son was still alive. When the old king heard this, he was furious. He soon found Perseus. At this moment, the old king was so powerful that he rushed forward like a madman. Perseus rushed to fight but was bitten on the arm. His teammates rushed to cut off the old king's hand. Little did they know that his blood dripping on the yellow sand would attract an even more terrifying monster. A huge desert scorpion burst out, in front of absolute power. Any human attack is so pale and powerless. Even more frightening is that the severed hand just turned into a giant scorpion. The human soldiers suffered heavy casualties in a flash. Perseus was also trapped in the stone pillar by the giant scorpion's pincers and could not move. At the critical moment, Io suddenly appeared and saved Perseus. The angry giant scorpion turned around and charged toward Io. Perseus threw Io out, but he was swallowed by a giant scorpion. When everyone thought he was killed, Perseus broke out of his shell and killed the giant scorpion. As a demigod, he will not die so easily. But before the crowd could rejoice, several more giant scorpions crawled out. What's worse, they were even bigger. This time they had no way to escape. Just when the people were in despair, a group of strange-looking tree people appeared not far away. They were the evil shamans who lived in the desert. He held out his hand and chanted a mysterious incantation. The giant scorpions stopped obediently. They couldn't tell if they were friends or foes. Perseus was about to step forward to express his gratitude. Suddenly his bitten arm was eaten away by a dark force. It was Hades' poison. Late in the night, the evil wizard took a blue flame from his wand and pressed it against Perseus' wound. The unknowing companions tried to stop the evil sorcerer. It turns out that the evil sorcerer is also fed up with the rule of the gods and is willing to stay and help Perseus. The next day, the evil sorcerer summoned a giant scorpion as a mount. This saved much time. In this way, they crossed the desolate Gobi, the endless desert, and the mountain range and finally arrived at the lair of the Stygian witches. These three old witches had different faces and shared one eye. They are brutal and feed on human flesh, so they will not easily tell them how to defeat the beast. Perseus desperately took away their only eye and threatened them with it. They had to reveal an almost impossible method: find the serpent-haired demon Medusa at the edge of the river Styx. It is said that the flesh and blood which look at her will be instantly petrified. Even the giant beasts are no exception. None of the men who have seen her have come out alive. Despite the dangers ahead and the possibility of losing one's life at any time, the group is determined to save humanity. After a long journey, the people finally arrived at the underworld ferry. The evil sorcerer threw a gold coin. Soon, the soul ferryman appeared. Ghosts also prefer money. After passing through the river Styx, they saw an abandoned temple. This is the lair of Medusa, the snake-haired demoness. Medusa is a snake-haired demon that scares all men. No man dares to look her in the eye. One look and they would be turned into stone statues. The warriors reminded each other to look down, but when Medusa appeared, a warrior could not help but look up, and he was instantly turned into stone, which is unpreventable. Medusa was like a ghost wandering around the temple. She attacked suddenly, and another warrior was hit and fell to pieces. Then, Medusa launched a long-range attack. Perseus used his body as bait and ran ahead of her. Sure enough, Medusa fell for his trick and chased after her. The evil sorcerer, who had been ambushed in the shadows, cut off several of her snake heads with a single slash. Enraged, Medusa wrapped her tail around the evil sorcerer and unleashed her ultimate skill. It turned out to have no effect on him. It turns out that the evil spirit wizard is not a flesh and blood body at all. He then detonated his own heart, dealing massive damage to Medusa. Taking advantage of this opportunity, a warrior cut through a conical boulder and stabbed Medusa directly in the tail. Once again, screams rang out from the temple. She turned around with a death stare, and the warrior became stone. Perseus did not dare to look Medusa in the eye. He used the reflection of his shield to determine his position, turned around, and leaped up to cut off Medusa's head. Medusa lost his head after a painful struggle. His body fell into the flames of hell and turned into ashes. Ultimately, only Perseus left the temple with Medusa's head alive, and Lo, who was guarding the outside, was stabbed through the body with a sword by the old king. Perseus was furious and fought him again. He no longer resists his divine power, picks up the sword, and stabs the old king in the chest. Finally, the curse on him dissipated, and he was freed. And by now, the eclipse had appeared. The ancient beast Kraken was about to reappear on Earth. The winged horse arrives just in time. Perseus took Medusa's head and rode the winged horse to fly to the castle. The beast stretched out its long tentacles, stirred up the sea, and began to strike a devastating blow at the human castle. At this point, Hades' power became immense. Zeus, who had lost the human prayer, was no longer a match for him. Nevertheless, the presence of Perseus still made him fearful. Perith unleashed countless demons to attack Perseus. One demon even took advantage of the chaos to snatch Medusa's head. Perseus had to turn around and chase after it. At this time, the ancient beast Kraken has completely revealed the water's surface. This size is even bigger than Godzilla. Humans are as small as ants in front of them. Perseus rode the winged horse between its tentacles and the demon. The fearful people grabbed the princess and prepared to sacrifice her to the beast to beg forgiveness from Hades, the king of the underworld. Seeing that the princess's life was in danger, Perseus jumped from the winged horse, grabbed the demon, and fell into the castle. In the nick of time, Perseus took out Medusa's head and rushed towards the beast that was about to devour the princess. Kraken began to petrify from the eyes and slowly spread to the whole body. Broken boulders fell from the sky. The princess fell into the sea along with the petrified beast. Just as Perseus is about to rescue the princess, the king of the underworld, Hera, suddenly appears. Perseus took out Excalibur, and with the power of Zeus' thunderbolt, threw Excalibur in a smooth manner. Hades was sent back to underworld again. Perseus rescued the princess and said goodbye to her. He finally returned to Lo's side. This is the movie's end. Remember to subscribe to my channel. We will see you next time.